Hey guys, welcome back, and in today's video I will be covering how to solve two-step inequalities. So let's get started. So when solving inequalities, there are two rules that we need to follow, and the first rule is the inverse operations, which we use to isolate the variable. Then the second rule we need to know is that we have to flip the inequality symbol when we multiply or divide both sides by a negative. The method of solving an inequality is the same as solving an equation. So if you know how to solve an equation using order of operations, then you will know how to solve an inequality. If you're unsure on how to solve an equation using order of operations, then please check out my other videos, which will be linked in the description to better your understanding. Okay, so now let's move on to the first question. So for the first question, we have 8x minus 4 is greater than 20. So similar to solving equations, we want to isolate the variable, i.e. x. So the easiest way to do this is to keep your variables on the left and the numbers on the right. This means that we need to use the inverse operation to undo the operation. So we have to do the opposite of minus 4 to both sides to cancel it out. This means that we have to add 4 to both sides of the inequality, because whatever we do to one side of the inequality, we must do it to the other side so that the inequality remains balanced. So we add 4 to the right side as well. As far as the left side goes, the plus and the minus cancel each other out, which means we just have 8x is greater than 20 plus 4, which gives us 24. So 8 times x is greater than 24. We need to use inverse operations to isolate the x. So currently x is being multiplied by 8, so we do the opposite of multiply, which is divide. We divide both sides by 8, and this gives us x is greater than 3, since x goes into 24 3 times. This means that x can be greater than 3. Now, let's use a value that is greater than 3 to make sure that this is correct. So let's use 4. So 8 times 4 is the replacement for x, minus 4. 8 times 4 gives us 32, minus 4 gives us 28, which is greater than 20. So this means that we are correct here. Now let's move on to number 2. We have y divided by minus 3 plus 6 is greater or equal than 24. So in order to isolate the variable y, we must use inverse operation method to undo the operation. The first step would be to get rid of the plus 6, and the inverse of that would be minus 6. So we have to subtract minus 6 from both sides of the inequality, since whatever you do to one side of the inequality or equation, you must do to the other side to balance it. On the left side, you can see that this cancels each other out, which means that you are left with y divided by minus 3. And then on the right side, we have 24 minus 6, which gives us 18. So now we have y divided by minus 3 is greater or equal than 18. We need to use inverse operation to get rid of the divide by minus 3, which means we have to multiply both sides by minus 3. This will cancel the left side isolating y, and we need to remember our rule here, which is that when we multiply or divide an inequality by a negative number, the inequality symbol flips. This means that we have y is less than or equal to 18 multiplied by minus 3, which gives us minus 54. So, for the inequality to remain true, y has to be less than or equal to minus 54. If we substitute minus 60 into the inequality, we can see if our answer is correct. So minus 60 divided by minus 3 plus 6 is greater or equal to 24. Minus 60 divided by minus 3 gives us 20, since the negatives cancel each other out. Then 20 plus 6 gives us 26, which is greater or equal to 24. So we can see that our equation is correct. Now let's look at question 3, which is minus 6n plus 4 is greater or equal to minus 26. So using the inverse operation, we have to subtract minus 4 from the left and right side. These 4's cancel each other out, which gives minus 6n is greater or equal to minus 26 minus 4, which gives us minus 30. In order to get n on its own, we have to use inverse operation. Currently, it is being multiplied by minus 6, which means we have to do the opposite, which would be divide by minus 6. And of course, since we are dividing by minus 6 on the left side, then we must do the same on the right side. The left side cancels out, isolating n completely. However, since we divided by a negative, our inequality changes to be less than or equal to minus 30 over minus 6. So n is less than or equal to 5. When you divide by two negatives, they cancel each other out. So it follows a similar rule as when you divide and multiply by the same number, they also cancel each other out. Let's check this by substituting n as a value less than 5. So let's use 3. Minus 6 times 3 plus 4 is greater or equal to minus 26. Minus 6 times 3 gives us minus 18. Plus 4 is greater than or equal to minus 26. Minus 18 plus 4 gives us minus 14, which is greater or equal to minus 26, which means it's correct. Let's move on to our last question, number 4. We have minus 6 is greater than m divided by 7 minus 10. We need to undo the operation, so step 1 would be to add 10 to both sides to isolate m. On the right side, these cancel each other out, so we have m divided by 7 is greater than, and then minus 6 plus 10 gives us 4. Now we have to isolate m, so we use inverse operation. Currently it is being divided by 7, so the opposite would be to multiply by 7. Of course, we would have to multiply both sides of the inequality by 7 in order to keep the inequality balanced. Now, on the right side, they cancel each other out, so m is completely isolated. So m is less than, and then on the left side, we have 7 multiplied by 4, which gives us 28. So m is less than 28, however, we can always write the inequality where the variable is coming first just to make it easier. All we do is we write the variable first and just ensure that the inequality symbol is the correct way. So it needs to open up by 28 here, which makes the inequality correct. Let's use a number which is less than 28 to prove the inequality. So let's substitute 21. If we use 21, we get minus 6 is greater than 21 over 7 minus 10. We can solve the fraction to get 3, as 21 over 7 gives us 3. 3 minus 10 gives us minus 7. So we have our answer as minus 6 is greater than minus 7, which is in fact correct. So m can be any value less than 28. Well done if you made it to the end of the video. Now, as a bonus question, I want you to solve this inequality using the methods that we have been using in the last 4 examples, and write your answer in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe.